Welcome to Breathe, Love, Parent, the Shine On podcast. I'm your host, Rach, yoga teacher, natural mama, and passionate guide in all things nervous system and connection. This is your space for honest conversations, emotional wellbeing tools, and mindful parenting insights. Whether you're in the thick of meltdowns or seeking a moment of calm, you belong here. Let's take a breath together and begin. Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to Breathe, Love, Parent, the Shine On podcast. I am Rach, your host, and today I am so excited to be here, as always. But today I'm talking about something that so many mothers walk through and often silently. Now, this question has been repeatedly asked to me since having 2 kids. And I'm very open about sharing my experience. And I just want to preface this that anything that I'm talking about in relation to having multiple children is from my own lived experience. I am not a qualified sleep consultant or sleep therapist or anything like that. But this question I am getting asked constantly. So I thought, why not put it on the pod? And then people can refer back and flick it to people who might need to hear it. And the question we're focusing on today is how to calm your toddler at bedtime when a new sibling has arrived. Now, there's going to be a lot more episodes about, second baby coming on board and how this impacts your toddler. But for today, we're not just talking about the immediate arrival. We're talking about, let's say, 12 months. Now, when I was pregnant, I was doing research into what do I do? What is this? What can I expect? All those kinds of things. And I found that there's just so much information about, what to expect when you're expecting and everything about pregnancy and all the things for the firstborn. But there's very limited information out there for having 2 or even 3. I only have 2 children. I only have 2 born children. I am only qualified to speak about that. But yeah, I'm jumping into this way before I even wanted to, but I actually have written a book. I'm in the process of finalizing a book, and it's all about this. But over the next little while, I'm going to be responding to the questions I receive. So let's get back to today's topic, which is all about bedtime routines for toddlers. Now, this transition can shake the whole nervous system, bringing in a new child. It's not just your nervous system that's getting a shake up, it's also your your firstborn. And bedtime is usually the moment everything bubbles up, right? Now, before we even go any further, let's just acknowledge that, as parents, we get overwhelmed and we get overstimulated, and having a newborn, having a baby and a toddler is full on for us. And I just want you to reflect on that for a moment about those days, particularly the hard days, right? And then think about all the tools that you have or the resources you have access to. And then now let's reflect on our children. And they don't have the same tools and skills and resources or awareness or life experience. So firstly, have compassion for yourself. Love and compassion for yourself always. And let's extend that to our little person, because they too are going through so much. And at bedtime, it's let it all out. Let's just it can be crazy. It can be crazy. It can be chaotic. So let's walk through what's actually happening. So why these behaviors make perfect sense and how to guide your toddler back into safety, softness, and connection before sleep. This podcast will talk about, a bit of that, but also then I'll share some things that have worked at different times. Now, again, I'm very open-minded with what I do explore with my girls, and I'm also very aware that what might work one moment might not work the next day, or it might work for a period of time, because they too are growing and evolving, just like I am as a mother. So, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, that's my suggestion to apply anytime you're listening, really, not only to me, but listening to anything. So first, with all that said, let's take a breath. Take a breath with me here. Inhale and exhale. And let's begin. So let's focus first on why bedtime becomes the flashpoint. So, when a new baby enters the family, your toddler loses two things at once: their sense of predictability and your undivided nervous system. Let's repeat that: their sense of predictability and your undivided nervous system. So, for however long it has just been them and you, and now there is this little creature that is taking your focus, your energy, your attention, but also your emotional, physical energy as well. Not even if you're just like talking about looking at them and it's like sleep deprivation, you're probably not sleeping very well, you're possibly feeding, particularly if you're breastfeeding. Like there's so many different elements that they see and that's taking from you. Now, toddlers don't have the language to say, I feel displaced, or I'm scared something has changed, or what about me? Or I want you the way I used to have you. They can't say that. And depending on the age gap, maybe your child's not talking yet at all. So instead, when they're protesting, you hear, no, go away, don't push the baby down, or crying, clinginess, sudden regressions, refusal to sleep. And mama, it is tough. It is. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. This is a challenging period. But let's know that these reactions from our toddler aren't bad behavior. They are signs of activation. A tiny nervous system that's overwhelmed and unsure of where it belongs is activated. Bedtime amplifies this because it requires separation. And separation feels scary when they're already unsure of their place. So your toddler needs a place to land. Before you try to fix bedtime, pause and remember this. Your toddler doesn't need perfection. They need a place to land. They need you regulated enough to guide the room back into safety. Not calm, just regulated enough. Keyword, enough. Here's the truth that mums and dads forget. Your system sets the tone. If you're rushing, stressed, tense, or anticipating a battle, your child will feel that in their body before you even speak it. You know, we've talked about emotional contagion. We've talked about that transferring of energy. They are already picking up on things before you even are probably even aware of it. So step one begins with you. And I say this with love because I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end and and I'm like, oh man, she just won't do this or this is happening. And they're like, yeah, but what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing enough. What do you mean you're throwing this back on me? So yeah, I'm not I'm not saying this to be like, you're not doing enough or you know what, here's some more things. I'm talking about like the science behind it, about regulating our nervous system and coming into a place of acceptance of enough. So regulate first, not perfectly, just enough. So try one of these before the bedtime routine, and you can do this with your little person. In fact, the behavior you want to see or the tools or skills you want to see your little person use must be modeled to them. So try this. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Take a slow breath in. So it's 4 in and 6 out. So it'll be, let's try this right now. Wherever you are, eyes open. You can even, place one hand if you're holding baby or whatever the situation may be. One hand on your heart, one on your belly. Slow breath in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. That's it. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, relax the tongue and the mouth, and you can continue breathing in the 4 to 6 count. Remind yourself, they're not giving me a hard time. They're having a hard time. Now shake out your arms or your legs, even just for 10 seconds. Like really get your Taylor Swift on and shake it out. Then whisper internally, soften. I've got this. You're not calming them first. You're calming the room by calming you. Now here is a practical heart-led bedtime flow that may work for you. So This sequence works especially well during the sibling transitions. So let's focus on a pre-bedtime reconnection, so 5 to 10 minutes. Before any part of the routine begins, give your toddler something that signals you matter. This is your time. That could be a cuddle on the couch, no phones nearby, a special time game, so 2 minutes of following their lead. And I am a huge fan of timers. I think particularly with toddlers, they need to have that visual or that understanding of like start and end. And let them choose. So do you want mummy to be a dinosaur or a puppy for 2 minutes? This reconnects your nervous system before separation approaches. Okay, now remembering children connect through play. So play is key. Narrate what's happening inside them. So at bedtime, emotions peak because their body finally slows down enough for them to feel. So use language that grounds. I know it feels hard when the day is over. I see you. You want me close because things feel different right now. I'm here. You're safe. We're learning this together. You are naming the need beneath the behavior. And you know how sometimes when someone's like, hey, I see you really trying right now. You're doing a great job. And you're like, oh, or, someone says, hey, I can see this is a really challenging time. And it's just naming it. And you're like, yeah, it is fucking challenging. Thank you for saying that. It's just that validation piece, right? We need it. They need it too. So slow the routine way down, way, way down. So rushing makes their body escalate. Slowness signals safety. So try whispering your instructions. And I know you're like, my child is screaming, they're not going to hear me. I know. I get it. I hear you. But just try like lowering your voice. If you lower the way you're speaking to them, they will come down to you eventually. So moving at half speed, you can even do like sloth movements, like we're like on the moon movements to get to bed. If that helps, even just your brain being like, we're slowing down, like make it fun. So softening your voice and your eyes. Okay, so remember they pick up on our body language, and I think don't quote me on this number, but it's something like 80% of communication is nonverbal. So remember that. Remember that. But yeah, you're not performing calm. You're inviting their systems into yours. So number 4, use connection-based boundaries. So toddlers still need structure. Use yes and instead of no. So yes, you want one more cuddle and it's time to hop into bed. I'll hold your hand while you climb in. Or your body wants mummy close. I'm right here and I won't leave. Boundaries without threat, direction without control, and safety without force. A grounding close down ritual that could help. So something they can rely on nightly. So it could be 3 deep breaths together. There's some particularly butterfly taps together. You could do butterfly taps. I might need a bit more of a visual for that. So I have to include a YouTube link. A family mantra like, I am safe. I am loved. I am growing. I am valued. I say that to my daughter all the time. You are so valued and you are enough. A little massage with essential oils. Again, we use Shine On Natural Nighty Night oil, which has essential oils that are key for promoting sleep. The thing with the Shine On Natural essential oils, they can be crafted for the specific age of your child. So just a segue here or a side note here, not all essential oils are beneficial for every age group. So there are different dilutions that are required for different ages. And so these Shine On Natural ones you can have per your age. So that's really important to note. Anyway, but any essential oils that feel aligned and safe for you and your family to use. And a story about when they were little. Toddlers love hearing they've always belonged, okay? Even if you're making up stories with them involved, these children up until around the age of 8 are egocentric beings. Humans are egocentric till around that age. So they want it all to be about them. It's meant developmentally, it should be about them. So involve them in stories as well. Okay. So let's move on now to when you feel triggered. So I think as I've just mentioned, that is a sample routine that may work for you and your family. And then I want to discuss now when you feel triggered. So if bedtime brings up rage, resentment, or overwhelm, know this. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're activated. Your nervous system is stretched. Your capacity is low or lower. That's not a character flaw, it's biology. Again, compassion, compassion, compassion. Okay. We don't need to go into the story about why we're feeling, our capacity is low or why our nervous system is stretched. Just hold yourself and know, firstly, if you're listening to this and you're willing to apply something, like that is phenomenal. That is a huge, huge step. So give yourself, honor that within you and be like, hey, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing a good thing here. But just give yourself love and compassion, right? You're doing beautifully. You're doing so much. Yeah. Just I can't stress that enough. I do need to do a whole episode on compassion because I think that's really important to understand how and why we need compassion for ourselves. But then take 2 breaths. Say out loud, I'm feeling full. I'm going to take a moment. And a strategy that has worked for my husband and I is tapping in and tapping out. And you know how sometimes the children just need an energy shift? So if you are fortunate enough to have a partner, particularly if you're having a partner who is involved in the night routine, having someone to come in and say hey, out you go, on your bike, tap in, tap out, just a hand on the shoulder. And I just go, okay, go. And then I come in. And in theory, I'm much more regulated than my husband is at that point in time. Doesn't always work, but sometimes they just need that shift, and that is helpful too. So even 5 seconds of pacing your breath resets the moment. Yeah, and your toddler doesn't need you to be calm. They just need you to be present, okay? And your presence is enough. It is. It really is. Now, some strategies that I use with my daughter include, we do this thing called the pillow Play-Doh. So basically she's like a piece of Play-Doh laying down and I get a pillow, it's a small little toddler pillow, and I basically roll it and I knead her body. And so I press on her, from her neck down to her feet, and then I shake it. So I'll be like, Play-Doh, 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 and a tap, tap, tap. So then I'm tapping her body, and then I'll turn the pillow on its side and shake it. So then she's shaking and she's giggling and she's laughing. And so children really benefit from that firm pressure. Some children need it more than others, but having that pressure applied to their body also signals to their system, I am calm, or I am safe. Think weighted blankets. Weighted blankets work for that, that pressure on the body. I'm not going to go too much into the science of it because you just really need to know that it works, I guess. So that really works. We do massaging at night as well. So we do a full body massage and she can massage me and I can massage her. That really works. Another thing that we use too is sleep stories. Now, there are loads of sleep stories on Spotify that you can use as well that are, included either within your plan or some of them are free. So I'll share in the show notes below, a link to some of the audiobooks that we listen to. They're not necessarily sleep stories, but they're just stories that my daughter likes listening to and she falls asleep. So that's a great idea too, as well as the app called Calm. Phenomenal app. It has sleep stories, guided meditations. It has thought-provoking guided discussions. It's a great app. I swear by it. I use it personally. I use it for my children as well. I will share a link to that as well. And I think it gives you 30 days of access to the premium plan. I don't think I get any kickbacks, but if I do have any affiliation, I will let you know. But even if I do, it doesn't cost you anything to use. So these are just tools that I enjoy using and swear by. And I do have a few more movement-based ideas as well. And again, I feel like, not to brag, but I have created a resource. Again, I'm in the final stages. I'm just making all the videos and the images, taking the images for it. But I've collected a resource that is designed for families. So someone like yourself who's coming and wanting to know how to, regulate the nervous system of their child, they look at this resource, it'll have access to the video on how to do, the image on how to do, and it'll help bring your child's nervous system either into a down-regulated or an up-regulated state. So I will share the information with you. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted right now. I can see a huntsman on the trampoline and it is insane. So that I'm just looking at that being like, okay, well now I've got to spray the trampoline. So it's a bit of a side note there. But yeah, I'll share that resource with you as well. And that can just provide a few more ideas, similar to like the Play-Doh push that I was mentioning before. And also like some of the games, like 2-minute games that you can play with your little person just to bring a bit more playfulness and connection into not only your evening routine, but into your routine in general. And the last point that I want to share today, or I think it's the last point, is screen time. So my daughter I aim to have my kids in their room, their bed or their cot by 6. It doesn't always happen, but it's a general guideline around 6 p.m. So 2 hours before, so at 4 o'clock, absolutely no eyes on screens for them. My daughter's she's nearly 3 at the time of recording, so she does have some access to the TV, but that is her only screen time and that is monitored and restricted. But I would not let her watch TV beyond 3:30, absolute maximum, but I like to say 3 o'clock. And so that helps her have that enough time to wind down. And I call what is commonly known as witching hour, I refer to as connection hour. So that gives me that at least an hour of the time when things are really bubbly to focus on her and her needs as well. I've got 2 toddlers now, but on their needs, I should say. And that could be like mindful coloring. It could be Play-Doh. It could be painting. It could just be playing with blocks or just giving them the space to be home to play with whatever they need. And at the moment, that's playing with dolls and dress-ups. So I give them that time. And I think that's really important, particularly if you've got children who are at daycare or preschool. They do need some decompression time. Children regulate their nervous system so magically through play. And so providing them with enough play time in the lead up to your bedtime wind down, that includes, when I say bedtime wind down, I include like dinner, bath, bed, all in that period, is a good way for them to have time to regulate their nervous system. And if you're involved in that, co-regulation is key. So I hope I've answered the question for you, and I hope it's provided a bit of insight and some tools and some practical things that you can apply tonight, should you choose. But please reach out to me as well. I know as soon as I sign off from this podcast episode, I will then think, oh, I should have said this or I should have said that. But instead of, adding on, I'll just create a new episode. But I have a few questions rolling in, which I will do in this same style. So if you do have anything that you'd like to know or you'd like to hear me talk on a bit more, please, the best way to get in touch would be via Instagram. So all of my Instagrams, Shine, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, even LinkedIn, everything Shine Om AU. So ShineOm AU. So Shine Om AU. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you and let's take this conversation elsewhere. Otherwise, comment on whatever platform you're listening on and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And give me a follow, share with someone that you think would benefit from this. And again, if you want a bit more information, if there's something I've mentioned today and you want me to talk a bit more to that, please feel free to ask and I will, I'll do that. So thank you so much for your time and energy. This is a much longer one than I would normally do. So I really appreciate you spending the time with me today and have a beautiful day and I will talk to you again soon. Bye. Thank you for joining me on Breathe, Laugh, Parent. If this episode brought you a moment of calm or connection, please share it with a fellow mama. Subscribe on your favourite platform or visit shineom.com.au/podcast for more. Until next time, keep breathing, laughing and parenting with heart. The information shared on Breathe, Laugh, Parent, the Shine On podcast, is for general educational and inspirational purposes only. It is not medical, therapeutic or professional advice and should not be relied on as such. Always consult a qualified health or parenting professional for support tailored to your individual needs. Shine On and its guests disclaim any liability for decisions made based on this content.